Welcome back to That Investing channel, where I invest in high quality companies in my £47,000 plus stocks and shares ISA that I hold on Trading 212. But as a UK taxpayer, I've been looking for other more tax efficient ways to grow my money for retirement. And that's where the self-invested personal pension, or SIPP, comes in. So today we're going to be taking a look at my brand newly opened SIPP with Invest Engine, discuss the investments I've chosen within it and what my plans are for this account alongside my ISA. If you get something out of this video, then don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel to help it grow. So here we have my stocks and shares ISA on Trading 212, and people that are familiar with this channel will probably be quite caught up with it, but I have about £47,000 invested, about £7,000 in total return. Over the past year we've returned about 6,500 of that, or around about 19.5%. And that rate of return isn't really sort of what I put value in. I normally use time-weighted return. But we invest in individual companies, and these have done actually quite well and outperformed the market last year. So we've got Amazon here as a main large holding. This one makes up around about 25 to 27% right now, and probably more in the future. We've got Brookfield, Visa, Google, etc. These are all high quality holdings that I believe will outperform the market. And last year we actually returned around about 35 to 34% overall, compared to in 2024 the S&P's return sitting closer to about 23%. But is this the best way to invest my hard-earned money? Well, in the future, due to my situation with finances, I'm likely to fall into the higher tax bracket. And that basically means that as a UK taxpayer, I'm going to be hitting a potentially 40% tax. And that stealth tax that the government has kindly kept in place for the past 8 years is probably hitting quite a few people into the future with salaries increasing. But this amount that I'm getting, this new source of income, is not from the likes of my actual workplace pension or income, so I can't actually use that in a workplace pension. So I'm also trying to contribute to that, but I am contributing to this now, I think, into the future. The main reason is because when I recently opened this account, it will allow me to contribute my new income into it outside of that workplace pension, and it will allow me to claim back that 40% tax that I have to pay as a higher tax payer. So we can see here I have about £100 invested, and this is actually where it sort of gets a bit interesting really, because it won't always just be £100, and I wanted to put £100 in to feel it out, see if the account was something that I liked and the product was something I liked, which I'm already liking it, if I'm honest. So I've got a pending payment from the HMRC, which is £25. Now I'm not too sure why it's £25 when the normal tax rate and what I'm taxed at currently is 20%. Obviously that's the basic tax rate. But they're paying me £25 for £100, which doesn't really make sense to me because it's 25%. I don't know if someone else may be able to explain that, which is more familiar with SIPPs. But in general, obviously, it's still good no matter what. So this payment is essentially the tax relief that we're getting as part of the self-invested pension, which makes this product so powerful and so important for UK taxpayers. So for net contributions, Invest Engine will automatically claim back the tax relief on my behalf, and this is at 20% income tax you originally paid on your income for the money you've used to invest into the self-invested pension. And it usually takes around 6 to 11 weeks to receive that rebate from HMRC, and the funds will be added to the same portfolio as your original contribution. So this account won't always sit at £100. For some reason, it will sit at £125 in 6 to 11 weeks. Obviously, if I don't contribute any more, which I am planning to. But that, to me, is very powerful because it actually just means that I can actually compound my wealth into the future. If we think about it, the main limiting factor on returns is the amount of money you have invested. The more money you have invested, even if you get taxed at a later stage, which you do with a self-invested pension, you still are allowing your wealth to compound for a longer period. So when I leave this for the next 25 to 30 years, which is my time horizon, we look back on this and we can see that it will be compounded at a quicker rate because the HMRC rebates that I'm getting through tax will be massively impactful and help this investment grow. And then when it comes to the end, it will actually allow it to take a fair chunk of my tax away from it, but it will have compounded quicker than if we got taxed to begin with. So it's actually a very powerful tool, very useful one, especially if you're going to invest in the types of ETFs that I currently am. Now, if we move on to what I have invested in, for my time horizon, I've chosen a well-balanced sort of all-world ETF with low fees. And the low fees are quite important when we talk about bigger and bigger amounts of money. And that is the SPDR MSCI All Country World ETF, ticker ACWI. My main reason to invest in this particular one over great competitors like Invesco FTSE All World ETF Accumulative or the Vanguard FTSE All World Accumulative was actually just linked to their fees and fund size. So we can see here, these are the fees for all three. And SPDR MSCI or ACWI actually only recently lowered these fees from 0.4%, which is considerably higher, and which means I wouldn't be investing in this one, to 0.12%, which is much more competitive and very attractive as a fee rate. And it's obviously the lowest out of all three. We can see here Invesco 0.15%, and obviously the Vanguard one at 0.22% at the highest. And then we've got the fund size, which is also a factor. And it's over 4 times the size of the Invesco fund. Now, we may think that this doesn't matter, but I think it does a little bit because it affects liquidity. So the main reason this matters is because when buying and selling this ETF, it will allow you to do so with less fluctuations, if you like, from the price you're seeing on the screen to what you're actually buying it for, because obviously the more liquidity means you can purchase it quicker at a quicker pace, and it basically allows you to purchase it for more of a fair representation of what you're seeing on the screen. So I actually like that one. Now, my reasons to go with Invest Engine over, say, another provider like Vanguard was because it has an app which is very accessible. I quite like using apps on my phone. That's why I use my Trading 212 app to use my iStocks and Shares ISA. I really like Trading 212's app. Invest Engine app is good. It's not as good. I would say if Trading 212 brought out a SIPP, I'd definitely put my money there with a self-invested pension rather than Invest Engine. But as this is the only one I can have, I think this is still really good. And I quite like the accessibility of the app, the using it. I can just do transactions very quickly and choose to invest my money straight from my bank account, which is also on my phone. Another reason that I have chose to not invest in, say, Vanguard is because that's on a desktop. I don't really like it. It's quite older, and I can only invest in certain funds. I don't think it has this particular fund on it, the Spider one. I could be wrong. And generally, I just prefer Invest Engine for this. And so far, I quite like it. But one thing I will say is that Trading 212 have said about bringing a self-invested pension out. It's one thing they've talked about. They've overpromised on it in the past. And I think that this is something that I would definitely prefer my money to be in because I'd like it all in one place. But for now, I'm more than happy with Invest Engine, and I think it's actually a very good thing to have for a UK taxpayer, especially a higher payer one, which I'll probably be in the future. But what do you guys think? Do you like this sort of Invest Engine self-invested pension as a possible future investment? What do you think of it? Let me know down below. And as always, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next one.